I love it.
Woo! Welcome to the magical world of the Drummers Education Connection.
We're getting cosmic.
Story time begins in 5 minutes. What's up, everybody? We're here once again every Tuesday. My name is Jeremy Steinkohler. I'm here with my friends Rick Stojak, Chip Ritter. Not with us today is our fourth compatriot, Bart Robley. We hope he's doing well, and we'll see him next week. And boy, are we looking forward to today's episode. This is Rick's idea. We're going to talk about, does image matter? The answer is yes, and we'll see you next week.
That's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let us out.
But before we get started talking about that, and we'd love to hear your guys' input and comments and thoughts about this, because I know I have a lot of thoughts myself. We want to talk about good things.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kick it over to Chip, because I know he's got a really good thing he wants to talk about and share with everybody.
Hey, you know what, guys?
Yeah.
I've got a great thing that I think is just fantastic and near and dear to my heart. You know, I've been asked to perform at the Drumathon in Dallas, Texas, which is a fundraiser by April Samuels, who founded a thing called Breast Cancer Can Stick It after she survived triple negative breast cancer. And breast cancer hasn't gone away. It affects millions of people every year. So we're still fighting it. And what we're doing is raising funds to help promote for the Drumathon on November 2nd. And I've got my screen pulled up. If Jeremy could share it, it's got my website, which has all the details. Go to chipritter.com and you can see it says the Team Ritter raffle prizes. This is a big raffle. And what we're doing to support the raffle is a drum solo contest. But before I go forward, we're just going to support Breast Cancer Can Stick It. The raffle is on October 31st on a live special deck episode with Chip, Bart, and Fred. Watch it on Deck's YouTube channel. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please hit that subscribe button and click your notifications on so it can let you know when we do our episodes. The full prize list is below. Yeah. We got number one prize is a trick snare drum.
Whoa.
And we got Drumeo, $875 worth of Drumeo, full year scholarship, everything. The drum ears, feisty cymbal, Aquarian drum heads. I mean, I could go on about the prizes. Autographed copies from every member of Deck, and that's huge. And just for one $20 donation, you get a blue ticket that gets anyone a chance to win. So donate $20 today and help us fight breast cancer. The drum contest is basically a contest / showcase from now until October 23rd. That's a deadline to enter. And to enter the drum contest, all you have to do is make a solo or a song. A solo up to 2 minutes, or play a cover song. You know how some drum students they can do a whole song. That's what we want to see. We want to see you show us your stuff on the drums. And if you win the drum contest, first place wins 5 extra blue tickets for free for Team Ritter's raffle. Second place wins 3 extra blue tickets, and third place wins 1 extra blue ticket. But there will be additional prizes as we go along. We're going to give sticks to every winner. We're going to give a book to every winner. So you're going to get a lot of stuff. As if it was a live in-person drum clinic, that's how I'm holding the raffle. So I hope that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. So to be clear, you don't have to submit a drum solo video to enter the raffle. All you need to do is donate $20, and you get a raffle ticket, and you can eligible for all these amazing prizes. And if you want to submit a solo, you have a chance to earn more tickets to earn prizes. Yes,
and to clarify, if anybody has any questions, contact me. My info is on the website to reach me. I can clarify any confusion. The raffles are going to be held now, on and off, sporadically, through September 23rd is when we're going to do our green raffle on Deck. So you can do the raffle and win the prize and still have a blue ticket chance to get the snare drum. So it's a really cool thing, and it's all for a great cause. It's all in fun, and we want to just support April and her mission to fight breast cancer.
That's awesome, Chip. Congrats on putting this all together, and that's really, really exciting.
Thanks for letting me share that, guys. Can I show you the snare drum?
Please,
yeah,
hold on.
we want to see.
Yeah, what do you got?
We got a custom, one of a kind.
Whoa.
Aircraft grade aluminum trick snare drum.
Wow. Now,
with Rockstar vents that go all the way through. And I don't know if you can see this. Do you see that signature?
Yep.
Mike Dorfman, the creator of Trick Drums, the president of and CEO of Trick Drums USA, autographed it. And he doesn't sign anything. This is like he's like the Steve Jobs of the drum world. He doesn't autograph stuff. That's kind of like having Steve Jobs autograph a Mac.
Oops. Oh,
Man.
oops. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I think the retail value should be more than $12.95, but it's a $1,300 snare drum. That alone is worth a blue ticket for $20 to get in my opinion.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
agree. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks,
really,
So
man.
really
if
cool.
you donate, you got a ticket towards the prizes.
Yes.
And then if you submit a solo or
you could
song,
win more
you get
tickets.
more tickets.
Mhm.
And then those tickets will be in a contest to help win all those prizes.
Yes, and we've got tons of Mel Bay publication books and DVDs. We've got Rob Mitzner's stuff you can use playing in a band. We've got Bart Robley's Drum Up Business. We've got Jeremy Steinkohler's Finding the Groove. And of course, Rick Stojak's How to Build a Drum Groove.
Yeah,
and an
baby.
autographed pair of sticks. So thank you for that, guys. Thank you very much.
If you're interested in finding out more or just making a donation or get your raffle ticket, go to chipritter.com and you get all the information there.
Thank you.
That's not really a good thing, Chip. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
That's a really great
I
thing.
feel that way. I feel that way.
Yeah.
Chip, how many years have you been involved with Breast Cancer Can Stick It?
10 years. 10 years.
10 years.
I've gone 7 times.
I love the shout outs that you've posted. Check out Chip's social media. You'll see Tommy Lee doing a shout out. Who else was it? Ice-T?
Ice-T. I got Glenn
Yeah.
Sobel, Greg
Yeah.
Bissonette, Art Cruz from Lamb of God. Just lots of guys.
That's
Wow.
Lots
awesome.
of really, really kind professionals that don't have the attitude, even though they have the image,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
cool.
That's the
That's
way to
great.
be.
Really cool. Rick,
Yeah.
what's going on good for you?
Man, this is the greatest. So, my sister-in-law, Laura Christine, the shredder guitarist, and her husband, my brother-in-law, Gene Hoagland, have released their album for Dark Angel, the new album, and they started their tour and in San Diego. So Julia and I got to go down and see the first show of the tour. And we went down to the House of Blues and they ripped it. It was so crazy. It was just the most insane drumming and guitar work and show. So Dark Angel is touring the entire country right now. So I think they're in Texas right now. So it was fun. You know, we got to go backstage in the House of Blues and you know, we saw a lot of our friends and man, I was thinking, thank you, Dan Aykroyd, for creating the House of Blues and John Belushi, because that venue is the coolest. And so we're wishing
That is really
Laura,
cool.
yeah, Laura and Gene well. And if you want some American thrash metal, some really, really heavy stuff, man, they will satisfy your palate. You'll be
Rick,
headbanging to this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know their website? Can I go check them out?
Yeah, I'm sure there's darkangel.com and they're on Facebook also.
Okay.
The
I'll
new
find
album
them.
is Extinction Level Event is the album. And they're out touring the country and Canada. They're out for 6 weeks
Nice.
right now. Yeah, Extinction Level Event.
Well, they've got a
Um,
Wikipedia. I'll just share the Wikipedia link in the chat.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah. Yeah, so great group of guys and girl with my sister-in-law Laura. So we got to go on the bus, you know, that was pretty fun and you know, see the
Nice.
bus and yeah, I mean, but it's so much work. You just people often just think, "Oh, you have a bus, so you're a rock star. You must be a billionaire if you have a bus." And man, it's practical to be on a bus, but you know, it's a long drive and you're in proximity of people constantly. You know, it's a lot of people living on one bus for six weeks. So I have a lot of respect for anyone who goes out on tour and don't just assume that it's just easy out there. So I have a lot of respect for people who do that. You know, they're giving back our culture,
Mm-hmm.
you know, by
Yep.
bringing music to the masses. So how about you, Jeremy?
Things are good, man. Nothing sort of standing out right now. So I'm gonna say that Chip's good thing is my good thing, and also
Hi.
I also want to just shout out to Bart because Patrick asked why Bart's not here today, and I think he's celebrating his anniversary.
Yes, happy
So
anniversary,
happy
Bart.
anniversary
Happy
to Bart.
anniversary,
Yep.
Bart.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing
Yeah.
too. So does image matter? That's the topic for today's discussion, and we'd love to hear what
Image.
you guys, if you guys are listening, we'd love to hear your input about this, your thoughts, your opinions. Rick, what do you have to say about this? Does image matter?
Man, well, it's a definite yes, because I think that one way or another, no matter what your career is, branding is a factor. And I think having a brand is really vital, so people can identify with you and see if you're a comfortable fit for them. And we don't always decide what our image is really, I think that the audience, is really important in that, and then the band that you play with. And this is all I'd say. We're on a topic of, we're talking about in a musical context. Um I think it's really important to try to develop a brand, that's identifiable to you, and realize that not every musical setting, that your look and image is going to be right. There's just certain times when maybe the band maybe it's an all girl band, or I could think of, like, in the 90s era, when hair metal was in. Well,
Yeah.
I was out.
Big hair.
Dude, you know what? You had to be. It was all corporate owned, and of the MTV look, and it was all pretty much dudes who were 6 feet tall, had lots of tattoos. Um, a lot of the way they dressed was this sort of, just not the way I would dress, and so I wasn't in a position where I was going to be able to. I'm not going to grow 6 inches, and I'm not going to tattoo my arms for a trend, and so I kind of realized, you know what, I'm going to play music that might not be that. And I think genre is kind of important, if certain genres have certain looks, and I think you have to be adaptable to those looks. You have to fit in, but find that comfortable place for you. I know I'm kind of rambling all over the place,
That's all right.
but you want to be comfortable with your look, is it. And then I think it's important to be a little bit flexible. So I don't know, that just kind of gets the ball rolling. We could circle back on a lot of that stuff, but image, I think, is really vital. And I'm thinking about it. You might say, well, what about jazz? I don't need to have any kind of look or specific. I don't need to look like a rock guy or a jazz guy. But I think there is a look to a jazz musician too, which is distinctly them. I mean, I would think it would be pretty funny if I went to a jazz show and I saw a guy wearing chains and big hair on the drums, and had arm tattoos. I mean, have you ever even? It would just look awkward. So, what are your guys' thoughts on this? That we could circle back to some of this in detail.
Go ahead, Chip.
I'm thinking, the first thing that comes to my mind is a question, you guys. Like, what are we talking about? What does image mean? To define image, I mean, technically it means a picture of something, but
Mhm.
as far as what we're talking about is I guess the mental picture of an artist, of a musician. Like when you think of Johnny Cash, you see the black and the clothes, and he's got the swagger and you know what I mean? There's an image associated with him. Or Dolly Parton, she has her image, and the other musicians like Buddy Rich had an image, like, you know, and a reputation. But, you know, I think I always talk to my students about when they play gigs. I kind of have maybe it's a snobby approach. I kind of think that you should wear clean clothes when you play out in public. You know, it's kind of important to me to have like a clean shirt and swing your ass off, you know, because I've seen people get up on stage where they're charging $50 a ticket, and the guys up on stage are wearing like cutoff shorts and chili stains on the t-shirt. And I don't dig that. I think there's a certain level of
Professionalism.
What's the word I'm looking for? Professionalism that involves how you present yourself. So image as well, not just your clothes, but, you know, your look, like Rick's saying, you know, when they had the hair bands, everybody had the real long hair, and there was like a certain glam rock image to it. And then grunge came, and that image changed to flannel shirts and cutoff shorts and stuff. And, you know, with the Pearl Jams and everything. So I don't know. To me, image matters depending on what your goals are. So
That's
sense. About what I got. How about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, you know, the way I think of it is sort of how you present yourself, you know, and that can be how you dress, how you look, you know, your hairstyle, and even your attitude can be connected to it. And you know, it might feel easy to sort of reject this, you know, as a superficial notion, and say, oh, I'm just gonna, you know, wear whatever I want. But even doing that is a choice, right? Like however you show up in the world when you walk out the door is a choice. Even if you're wearing ripped jeans and a flannel shirt or pajamas or a suit, you know, people are going to perceive you a certain way. And I can tell you that when you dress, just in general in life, the better you dress, the more seriously people take you. That's
I agree.
That's true.
I agree.
I agree.
You know, like if you go, and that's why, you know, when you go, if you ever find yourself in court, you're wearing a suit, right? If you're ever going to get a loan from the bank, you're wearing a suit because you want to make a good impression that have people take you seriously. So there's that. But, you know, as far as the band goes, I mean, I think it's important, you know, a lot of bands have a look, and even if bands don't have a look, there's a certain, there's an image that you're putting forward. And if you show up to a jazz gig and you're wearing a flannel shirt and ripped jeans, that's, you know, that's not the look, and that's not what people are expecting. It's not how they connect. People, what do they say? People hear with their eyes, right?
Yes.
And yeah, that's true.
You know, that it makes a difference. It makes a difference how you present. And you want, you know, dressing the part is always important. It doesn't mean you have to be fake, you know. It just means you're doing part of the gig is showing up and looking the way you're supposed to look. I remember the story Daniel Glass told when he was just out of music school, and Spinal Tap was having an open casting call for drummers.
Yeah.
And he went to the casting call and to play drums to get it, you know, nobody really knew what it was. And but he knew what the vibe. And so he got, you know, his leather gloves and spiked his hair up and put some black leather jacket on and you know, tried to look the part, right? Because if you show up not looking the part, there's no way they're going to hire you. And remember who else was on our show? A drummer who talked about, was it the Brian Setzer band orchestra he was auditioning for, or some band in that style? And he showed up, he actually rented a convertible.
Yes.
And like slicked his hair back and put on like the bowling shirt or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Yes. Image.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he got the gig.
Yes.
You know, because he showed up looking like he was a member of the band already.
Exactly.
Do you remember this, guys?
I do remember that.
I remember that story.
I can't remember what drummer it is. There's only 230 episodes to pick from.
Anyway, so
230.
It matters, you know, especially when you're going for an audition. I think, you know, if you're going to audition for an established band that's already got a look, you want to sort of inhabit that, so it looks like you're already part of what they're doing. You know, you want to come in and play great, but look like that guy played great, but he just didn't feel like he was the right fit, or didn't look the right part, or, you know, how would we look on stage with all of us and then that guy with his pink, you know, polo shirt, or, you know, or whatever, when we're all wearing black leather,
right?
You know.
I think that you have to have that adaptability to fit in, but it can't be contrived. If it's too contrived, like this just isn't me, then perhaps that's not the right group for you. Like, are you really gonna
Yeah.
fit it? And keep
Yeah,
in
if you're
mind,
working on your image, it
uh,
should be consistent and authentic.
whoop.
What were you saying, Rick?
Oh, I lost Chip there for a second. Um,
I'm sorry.
no, I think it just faded out for a moment. Yeah, yeah. I think that it can't be contrived, right?
Mhm.
You've got to fit in and but be comfortable with it, and then figure out a way for you to be yourself that matches the band image. And very often too, the band image is a lot like the audience image too, which is definitely something
Mhm.
something I've noticed for a while. So
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, right.
yeah,
People who show up to hear the metal band, they the hair band, they have the hair,
yeah,
right? The
yeah.
people who show up to the jazz clubs, they're dressed like the jazz musicians are, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and you can
Yep.
fit in, like, okay, so I played psychobilly with the band Barnyard Ballers for years and many other psychobilly bands, and my image didn't exactly match what those guys looked like. They all had, the pompahawk, right? It's like the mohawk that sticks straight out, and definitely that's a big tattooed crowd. So I that wasn't what I was going to do for my hair. It just didn't fit. And when I started with that band, when they first had me in, I had long hair, and the guys had a debate because it was two guys, a singer and guitarist, who at the time we didn't have a bass player, and they debated. They were like, I don't think we want Rick in the band because the guy, he's like one guy with long hair, and I almost didn't end up in the band. But there's one other guy, um Taz Bentley, who played in the Reverend Horton Heat. That guy had long hair, and they thought, well, look, Taz Bentley has long hair, and so I'd come in, I had my earrings, I had my spiked hair, I try to wear psychobilly kind of shirts, I'd wear the leather jacket. I grew a beard at one point because I wanted to look more gnarly, and these weren't, those weren't big deals for me to make those adjustments. But the key is that I was really confident that
Mhm.
I didn't like act like, hey, I'm, this is awkward for me. I wasn't intimidated by them, and I kind of like owned the fact. And every once in a while, somebody would say, "Man, it's amazing you don't have any tattoos, man. You're owning that," And so, same with Gene Hoglan. Gene doesn't have any tattoos either, and no one's gonna
Well,
say he's
when
he's like
when
the epitome of the heavy metal drummer.
when you play like Gene Hoglan, you don't need to have any
You don't
tattoos.
need to. Yeah, yeah.
Hey
That's
James,
guys,
wanna
my
yeah.
my
oh,
connection is bad. I'm gonna jump off and come back. Sorry.
okay.
Okay.
James Harrison, who's been a guest on the show and frequent contributor, and we always appreciate his insights, says you can create an image or one will be created for you by by how you're perceived. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's sort of what we were saying before. Like,
Yeah.
no matter what you do, even if you say, "Oh, I don't care about it, I'm not going to have an image." However you show up, that's how you look, and that's how people perceive you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a great point, James, right? Because certainly the audience and band are going to create the image for you, and that's not always going to be good.
Yeah. Right.
like like what's this guy doing here? Yeah. So, yeah.
So what about let's shift the topic a little bit to
I
like, how you like as a professional drummer in the world, you play in a band or you play in a bunch of bands like and you have uh, a website or you have your social media,
right.
right? And this is
Yeah.
how you present in that arena.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, how much does that matter?
I think that's absolutely huge, and that comes down to branding. Um for me as a drum teacher, and performer, I want to cross over my branding and try to create like a look and a vibe and image, and it's hard for me to say exactly what it is other than perhaps enthusiastic and passionate
Hmm.
and maybe a little blingy. Like, man, I look at all my stuff like this, the what you see on this screen is my brand, right? I've got all these fun drums with lights, and I've got the electronic percussion,
Hmm.
and so hopefully my brand is like, hey, it's fun. This guy is having fun drumming, and look at all the stuff. Um, so I think that takes
Yeah.
some work. That takes some work to figure out what your branding is. And once again, that could be more important than how fast your paradiddles are,
Well,
right?
I think being intentional about it makes a difference as opposed to just throwing everything up there. Like um, even the
Yeah,
drums you play.
right,
I mean,
right.
I like to think that we all pick our drums based on the sound, and the responsiveness and all that stuff. But um, the look matters, right?
The look
I mean,
totally matters.
consider this. Consider this. Look at my drum kit in my background here. That's
Right.
like a custom Brooks kit. It's made out of curly maple, and if you blow up your screen, you can see how freaking gorgeous it is. Here, I'm gonna do this for a second. You can see the flame and the maple there on the sides. I mean,
Oh
Oh, that's
yeah.
beautiful.
it's beautiful, right? I mean, and it's kind of got it's to me, it's like it's classic.
Yeah. I
It's
see classy and professional.
right. That's how I
Right.
feel about those drums, and when I play them, and when I'm up, dressed up in whatever performance shirts, that's how I'm vibing. And then
Yeah.
look at Chip's drums. What does that suggest to you when you see those drums?
Um, some excitement, some power, some bling.
Yeah.
Graveyard Gravedigger monster truck.
Like, I'm gonna get a
No, man,
show.
I
I'm
don't. I
gonna get
don't.
a show from that drummer. That drummer is gonna give me a show. You're not
That's
gonna.
that's a drummer who's not afraid to stand out.
Right.
I
Yeah.
had a gig with a jazz
Right.
group, and the
Right.
and the band leader looked at me and said, "Real subtle kit there."
Right. Right. So because in a jazz setting, you're not supposed to be. That's not the vibe, right?
Yeah, it's not the proper vibe.
Right. 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 Your drums, and it's all good. I mean, that's the
It's
worst
all
that'll
good.
happen. Yeah. And then you look at what Rick's got going on.
Yeah.
Rick's got the one that lights up as well in the
Right.
background there.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so that acrylic kit with the lights that change, and I can strobe them, and that look has helped me get gigs with DJs. So,
Mhm.
I've played corporate events, weddings with DJs, which are some of the most fun and profitable gigs you can get. I that was part of the marketing to the customer, that there's going to be this lit up drum kit.
Energy.
Energy.
That
Yeah.
when I look at Rick's drums, I think energetic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When I look at Chip's drums, I think
positivity.
showmanship.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a part of it. That's a part of it.
It is. It is.
So image is important.
Yeah, and I have lots of different drum kits. I have different kits for different looks. I have like a 4-piece Gretsch kit, red sparkle, that I use that a lot with the psychobilly stuff. Kind of had a little bit of a retro look.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
can I jump in? David
Yeah.
says great points, but make sure you can live up to your online image. Using filters or what have you. Right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be present something that is like, you guys remember that video where there's a singer in a recording studio, and it's like, I think it might be a Saturday Night Live skit, and it sounds really amazing. And you see the engineer frantically working the dials and the knobs and the faders. And then the camera goes on the other side of the glass, and you hear her singing without the engineer's, magic. And it's just
Yeah.
like horrible, pitchy, out of key, and like sour. And then he comes back on the front side where the engineer's like scrambling to do all this stuff, and it sounds amazing, right? So yeah, that's
So
it
funny.
reminds me of that, David. Like, you can't, if you put out something that's not you, that's not authentic,
Right.
and, then it's gonna be hard to live up to it, right? You put
Right.
yourself, if you Photoshop yourself onto in a tuxedo playing these gorgeous drums, and then you show up and you're, your clothes are torn and dirty and your drums are all beat up. That's not being authentic.
Yep.
No, no doubt about it. I think it's an
Honestly,
interesting thing that a lot of people ignore. I really do. I think,
yeah, and I agree, and don't pay enough attention to or aren't intentional enough about it. I will be first in line to say I don't do it well enough.
yeah, but you primarily play in a jazz circuit, so right, mostly right,
Yeah,
and
funk,
so
jazz, blues, rock.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. So you show up, dress nicely, always appropriate. That's your look and image.
but
You don't
so,
need spiked hair.
no, yeah, no, I know that, but I mean, like social media and
Oh,
uh, yeah, I mean, I'm not one of those people that feels like I need to walk out of the house looking like $1,000,000. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like the cameras are going to be on all the time. Like think about movie stars. Like they've got to be put together,
right,
right? Because the cameras are everywhere and they have a brand to protect and an image to protect.
right.
And you know,
Hmm.
thankfully we don't have that problem.
Yeah, and as you get bigger too, yeah, you've got to protect that image all the time. I
Here, this is a great one from James. Can I share this? Sorry.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
James says, when I first started my professional/teaching life, websites didn't exist. So like now that's our calling card, right?
yeah,
Or social media. You're playing in word of mouth from others were your calling card then. Oftentimes you get students because they wanted to do what you do. Nowadays, social media and YouTube can often outweigh your website in terms of reach. Agree. Social media draws people to your site when at one point you used your site to promote your YouTube and others pages. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
I agree with that, but oddly enough, I'm getting most of my students from my website,
Uh,
not social media.
Well, and for me, I get all of my students through word of mouth.
Through word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Yeah,
Wow.
I do no advertising. I do. I mean, I have a drum school that has a website, and I have a
Yeah.
web page, but I don't advertise. I don't put a lot of social media stuff to try to get students. I feel like for me, it's all about the quality of the teaching that I do, and I know that when I'm really good at what I'm doing, that the word is going to spread among the people who get the instruction to other people who are looking for teachers.
Yeah. But
Nothing
by the way,
pays off like word of mouth.
that's right. That's
Mm.
right. By the way, I have to mention, folks, check out James Harrison's social media if you want to learn to drum. His videos are really, really good. They're very educational. Lots of great stuff.
Lots of fun. Good
Lots.
shuffles and everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah, all of it, all
Brushes.
of it. So I have a question for you guys. What about when you're teaching? Do you dress a certain way? Do you act a certain way? Is there anything that comes to mind about that with your average student?
I can answer some of that.
Go
Yeah,
for it.
I'd love to hear.
When I'm teaching, if I'm teaching an 8-year-old, I kind of end up acting like an 8-year-old for some reason. But I always make sure that I have some appropriate clothes on, dress business casual, nothing
Yep.
nothing out of line, not like a tuxedo or a business suit, but I'm almost always wearing a shirt with a collar and a pair of jeans and a relaxed casual look. I think that matters.
Mm-hmm.
That's about my take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also wear clothes.
That's good.
Yeah. Where's the bubbles?
There we go. There we go.
But I just wear, jeans, t-shirt, hoodie, flannel shirt, sometimes a collared shirt, sweater, but I'm not getting dressed up. I'm just being comfortable,
Yep. Yeah.
but professional and
Yep.
clean, clean and professional. I'm not showing up with cat hair all over my sweatshirt or,
You take a shower.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, brush my teeth even, right? Yeah. I mean, you show up professional, and that doesn't in our line of work. I don't feel like that for me at least, it doesn't mean that I have to be all, dressing like a business person.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's how people show up to the lessons, right? They show up in their everyday clothes, the way they went to school, the way they went
Right.
to work. And
Right.
so it's casual like that. You know, gigs is a different story, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, depending on the gig. And then, you know, as far as how you act, how I act, yeah, there's absolutely okay, I'm here, I'm doing my work now. People are paying me a lot of money to do my work, and I'm going to show up and be professional. And I'm going to, you know, even if I'm having a rough day, I'm going to have a positive attitude, and I'm going to be positive and encouraging, and give them the best of me. You know.
There you go. There you go.
That's good advice. To, no matter what kind of day you're having, to keep it positive and keep it fresh for your clients.
I would say I always try to look like a drummer when
What
they
does that mean?
it could mean a lot of things. I you know, I'm going to have my hair like, you know, spiked and I'm always at lessons I'm wearing a logoed shirt from a drum manufacturer, something drum. I
Huh.
always wear, you know, a Ludwig or a DW shirt or a Sabian shirt or Aquarian or Rick Stojak drum studio shirt or,
Hmm.
you know, Fred Fisher hat or something like that. So there's always something, you know, branding. It's like, oh, this guy looks like a drummer.
Hmm.
So, and I always like to make a vibe like, you know, my whole part of my branding is like too, when you come into study, it's like, I want, and this is just works for me as a teacher. I want people to come in and feel like they're at a concert, you
Mm.
know, and a lot of times that's how we'll start. I'll put a live video up on the screen, turn down the lights in here. Um, we'll both throw headphones on and we'll start jamming it, you know, Pink Floyd live in Pompeii or Dave Gilmour live in Pompeii, and just create that live gig effect too. So
That's cool.
yeah, so I think part of the brand and the image is it transfers to how I teach, you know, and um I think it helps. I think it helps get people excited about coming in and motivates them, and you know, that's what works for me, you know. I'm not that being in a music, you know, a small room with two drum pads isn't effective for people also, but to me, it should be kind of fun and exciting.
So that, I mean, and I think that reflects your personality too. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like
Thanks. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this is the background here is a picture of my teaching studio.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
it's
Clean.
very it's clean,
Yeah.
and there's photos all over the wall of famous musicians. So I think right there in the corner, there's Miles Davis, Paul McCartney, Bono, there's Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder. And I have a friend who's a professional photographer and has a studio at my rehearsal studio complex, and walked in one day and said, "Hey, I got a stack of these photos. These are like my B-roll. Do you want these?" And I looked at them. I was like, "Oh my God, these are incredible." So I framed them
Nice.
and put them up over the wall. And yeah, and there's two kits in there. You can't see the other one, but you know, it's clean, it's vacuumed. You know, there's no trash, there's no drumstick shards all over the floor. Um, and it's, you know, I hope it's inspiring. It's not the same vibe as Rick's.
Yeah.
You know, that's not me.
Right.
I love it. I love your studio. Your studio is awesome to me, and
Yep.
I like would feel like a kid in a candy store there, but
Yep.
it's not me. I couldn't work in that room every day.
Right. I totally get that. I totally get that. And you know, when I look at your thing, it's I look at it though and go, it's clean, it's professional. It looks like really good equipment in there
Mhm.
too. You know,
Mhm.
it's not just just junky. So
Right.
um yeah. So right. And that's how it is with students. You've got to fit like, hey, what environment? You know, I had one guy who's like a punk rock guy, and he was like, oh, I don't need all this, you know, I don't need to be on a big fancy kit, you know, and
Mhm.
you know, and that was fine for him. So, um, but if I was teaching or looking to study, I would look at photos, perhaps videos of the person I'm considering studying with, and kind of read between the lines? Is there crap all over the floors,
Right.
right?
Right.
Right? Is that like, well, wait,
Right.
how professional is this, right? Yeah.
Right.
So, um,
You know,
Hey, you guys, I've got to apologize to our viewers and to you. Something's wrong with my connection here, and I'm staggering out. I don't know why or how to fix it.
Chip, I see that lagging, but I'm hearing you fine, so you can keep talking.
yeah,
All
Chip.
right. Okay, great. Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say something. You guys were talking about, circle back real quick, about how you get students and the word of mouth. And I just
Yeah.
wanted to share something for our listeners that since we started DEC, we've all kind of helped each other business wise. And I was able to talk to Rick about business and a Yelp page and a Google business page. And one thing that changed my students and got my student roster up was getting a Google business page because Rick Stojak suggested it. So thank you,
Ah.
Rick.
Oh, you're welcome, Chip.
Mhm.
That's what DEC is all about. Us helping each other out and trying to help out the community.
Fred adds, if you go to the doctor, you expect them to look like a doctor,
Bam.
Bam.
and
And-
you're not inspired with confidence when they don't.
Yeah.
You know, and I think
Yeah.
it's the same with us. And James says, once I started teaching at stores and colleges, I quit wearing shirts with beer, partying, drugs, or bad language. I didn't feel right about wearing a pot leaf on a shirt while I'm teaching young kids. Well, yeah, I would hope so. I would hope so, man. Right? Because here, you know, let's remember
Yeah.
that you know your students are looking up to you,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
you're a role model whether you want to be one or not.
And they're
Yeah.
going to mimic you no matter what you do or say.
You know what? On Fred Fisher's podcast, on the Drummer G podcast, he was talking about image in one of his recent episodes, and he was talking about like how important your shoes are. He's saying, because you're up on a stage, and you know people are at the level of your feet, and so how important footwear was.
Ha,
And
that's
I
funny.
never
I don't know,
really
man.
really thought of that.
I mean, you know, your feet are behind the kick drum and
Yeah.
the hi hat
Yeah.
pedal. I mean, I don't know that people can really see your shoes.
Yeah. Well, maybe for the other instruments.
It's not necessarily rock and roll to wear flip flops.
Yeah. Right. But there are some drummers who'd like to drum in their socks or in their bare feet.
That's
right?
true. That's
That's
true.
the thing.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, you know, I was so I wore high top basketball shoes, and those were the only shoes I would feel comfortable playing the drums in. So whenever I had to wear my suit, you know, my dress shoes, I would be like, oh, I felt like my feet would slip around, and so I'd be wearing a suit and high top sneakers.
That's a good look.
Yeah, maybe now it is, but back then it wasn't. But I was, you know, I felt like that's how I had to play comfortably. Anyway,
Oh, I love it.
That's
I love
cool.
it. You know, going back to that image about how we're perceived in the world. One of my students was telling me the story about Travis Barker, you know, Blink 182.
Mhm.
You know, that guy is tattooed from head to toe. His whole I'm not bashing on people with tattoos here, but he did say, man, he's always getting trouble with the cops
Yeah,
because he's up in LA. Like they're always picking on him, you know, and that stuff really, really matters. I think people think, oh, it's cool, but I think that the kind of tattoos that a person has are, you know, you're going to be perceived different ways depending on how the kind of style they are. You know,
Yeah, sure.
are they artwork or, you know? So I always encourage people, especially younger students who want to get tattoos, to really just consider what they
Really
are.
think about it. Yeah. Spend some
Yeah.
time thinking about it. Think about the whole word forever, because
Yeah.
that's going to be with you your whole life.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Hey, I
Yeah.
gotta share this. Fred says, keep those feet covered. And cameras allow the audience to see all of you. That's true. That's a good point. I guess, you know, most of the
That's
shows that I'm playing, there's no cameras. But,
Right.
but
Right.
yeah, when you're on the big stage, that's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that kind of fun? You know, it's kind of funny. I think I notice myself, I play different and perform different when I know people are watching than when I'm just by myself playing.
Mhm.
And I'm conscious of the image I'm protecting when I'm doing a show compared to when I'm playing in front of a student. It's two different things. And it reminds me of how I drive. I drive really safe and legal when somebody's in my car. But if I'm by myself, I don't seem to value my life as much as somebody else. It's kind of funny, you know?
Wow.
You know, I just thought of a story that I'd like to share. If you guys give me a minute, if it's okay with you.
Yeah.
Sure.
I went and saw a, well, I guess I can say the name of the band without saying the name. No, not right. I'll spare the name of the band. It was a band that you all know and have heard of. It's pretty famous band. And they had 4 guitar players, and it was at the show. I think it was at the Fillmore in San Francisco. And there was this one guitar player who was a really good guitar player. And you know, you close your eyes, and man, his solos were just great. But you open your eyes, and he just looked like he would rather be somewhere else.
Huh.
And
Mm.
just no stage presence, no, you know, visual enthusiasm. And maybe that was just the way he was, right? It could have been that he was fully into it, but just, you know, but his body language was telling a different story than his notes were, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I was talking to these friends I was with, and I said, "Man, that guitar player was really good." And they said, "Oh, that guy who looked like he was miserable, like I thought he was terrible." You
Mhm.
know, and they really reacted to his body language and his visual, how he presented his image.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, he's dressed fine, but like the image of him playing was not of like someone who was really liking what they're doing.
Mm.
And that had an impact on how they perceived the music. You know,
Right.
so I mean, that comes back to stage presence a little bit, but that's, you know, stage presence is an image thing too, right?
Absolutely.
That's a big part of it.
I talk to
Yeah.
my students. I
Yeah.
talk to my students when they're playing, and little tiny things that we help improve on. For Alan, for example, my 11-year-old student, she's excited about entering the drum solo contest showcase thing, and
Mhm.
she did a song where I noticed that when she was playing with me, she would sing, she would mouth the lyrics and sing along with the song while she played. But when we did the recording, she didn't do that. And I said, you know what, you should sing a little bit and feel more relaxed and be yourself. You know, that's kind of makes it more enjoyable for the crowd.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. There was a Bandworks band that was in our program one time that was a band of news broadcasters, like in
Hmm.
local news and TV news and news radio. And, you know, they were not a very experienced musically, but boy, did they have the stage presence thing, like in a way that I'd never even seen before or since in Bandworks, where, you know, they commanded the audience. They were fantastic
Cool.
stage banter,
Yeah.
and, you know, were whipping the crowd up. And there was nothing, it didn't feel forced. It was like, and people just ate it up,
Yeah.
right? Even if the music wasn't as good, like the entertainment value was really, really high.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's something I've worked on too. Like the old videos of me playing the drums, like, oh, I got that very focused, concentrated look. My mouth's hanging open, you know, and like, it's not the most like, whatever, compelling, you know,
Mhm.
facial expressions or whatever. I'm like, oh man, I sound really good, but I don't, I look like I'm, you know, I got the drummer
I-
face, you know.
Oh man.
I know from my own experience that it is very possible to overdo the image showmanship thing. It's possible to go
Mm.
too far, and I've done that.
Yeah.
I've learned some hard lessons with different bands doing stick tricks in inappropriate moments, and I chalk it up to experience. You know, the learning
Yeah.
when to go for it and when not. I mean, it's not really good to juggle sticks during a ballad. You know, not necessarily.
You got to know when to hold them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when to fold them exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, one of the things I wanted to bring up, which I think is kind of cool, is that it's very acceptable to be a mature, older musician these days for so many bands. So many of the classic rock bands now are 50, 60, 70 years old, and there's kind of a look that goes with that. And I would never I would really don't tap out as a drummer because you're worried about
Mm.
you're too old, you know? I mean, you
Mhm, mhm.
keep on going, pursuing your dreams. I mean, look at all these classic bands, metal bands, all of that, you know, people over 50. It's what's one of the good things I'd say right now about the music industry. It's not just you have to be in your 20s to
Yeah.
to be to be appreciated and liked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I just went and saw a show last week. Killer show. It was Bela Fleck and the Flecktones. You guys know that band?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, Bela Fleck's like a world class banjo player, like
Wasn't
maybe the
that
best.
Victor Wooten on
Victor,
bass?
Victor Wooten was playing bass. I mean, a
Wow.
monster bass player.
Man.
And Howard Levy was playing harmonica and piano. And oh my God, that guy was just stole the show, to be honest. And it was incredible. And these are all guys with white hair now, except
Right.
Victor and his brother, you know. But they're older, you know, and the crowd was older. You know, it was
Yeah.
like I was probably, I mean, there's a handful of young people there, but I was one of the youngest people there in the audience.
Yeah.
And everyone had white hair, and like, man, it was a phenomenal show, and everyone
Yeah.
was digging it. And yeah, absolutely, music. You know, you don't age out of playing music.
No. No. I always what so many times when I see like a classic rock band at a live show, the audience is older.
Mhm.
And I whenever I see, you know, like a family there and they're bringing their teens to the show, I always think that's the greatest, that the parents
Man,
are letting their student, you know, letting their kids know about music that happened
Well, I
decades
remember.
ago.
and they're still killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well, let
remember
Go
teaching
ahead.
lessons with. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, Chipper.
I was just gonna say. I remember teaching lessons over at a store called Sticks and Strings, and it was I think 2010, 2011, and I started having these kids come in and request songs like from Journey
Mhm.
and Kansas. And I remember thinking, wow, that's refreshing. And I talked to the parents and I found out those students were playing rock band and getting
Mm,
introduced to music played by real bands. You know, that was really
Mhm.
right.
cool.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. That those video games brought me a lot of students.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, I want to know more about this kind of music. This is cool."
That is restoring my faith in humanity.
There it is. There it is.
Sometimes you get a student that wants to do like a modern country song that's done with a drum machine that goes on the hi-hat, it goes, you know, it's like, okay, we're probably not going to play that today when you're 10 years old,
Mm,
but here's what I would play. So
Yeah.
we do the best we can.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. So, you know, I think have fun with your image. That's what it is. And
Have fun.
yeah, I think it comes down to having fun and you know, it can be really fun to like, you know, people love Halloween. You know, they love dressing up. So I think it's kind of fun to kind of get into the vibe, you know, and experiment. Don't be afraid to step outside the box a little bit is my thought.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to try new things and see what fits. If you're building your image, you're experimenting and trying to see what happens.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
welcome, Peter. Guys, good to see you, man. We're just getting in, or almost done with our discussion about image and how you present and what it looks like, how important it is to look the right way on stage, and your social media presence, your website, the way you dress, the way you present. Happy to hear your thoughts, you guys, and thanks, Fred and James and Patrick, for all your great comments and input today. That's all really good stuff. Um, yeah,
Did James have another comment? Did I see something pop
Yeah,
up
he
in my
yeah.
said,
read?
He says the best fat. What is it? Hold on. The best fashion show, Time Warp, with no age limits, is the NAM show. Yeah, that, that's for sure, man. You know, you see
Yeah.
all kinds there, all kinds. Yeah,
yeah, you see people that are 70 years old with jet black hair.
Yeah.
yeah, with the spike mohawk. You know,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's working for them. So good on them.
Yeah.
it's
They're
almost
owning
like
it.
it's almost like a little time capsule. You know, going to the NAM show
Yeah.
and like seeing all the stuff from like, oh, you're from 1983, you're from 1977.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing
Yeah.
Carmine Appice at NAM and he had a red stripe in his hair. And I was like, wow, he's still rocking it.
Yeah.
Man, talk about image. Carmen Apiece,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
right? With the leopard jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leopard jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Yep. Owning it and
That's
having
crazy.
fun. Yep.
Well,
Yep,
and think
no doubt.
about, I mean, think about, this isn't something we touched on, but how some of those, you know, image things were like totally iconic and game changing, like fashion trend setting people and musicians. Think about David Bowie, you know,
Right.
what he did with his
Yeah.
image.
Yeah.
Or even
Yeah.
David Byrne, you know, with the big suits with talking
Oh,
heads, right?
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Elvis.
Elvis, game changer. Yeah, right. All
Yeah.
these iconic musicians, when they have a look about them, right? When you go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, part of the exhibit they have is about fashion. So they have like Elvis's white, you know, sequin jumpsuit, you know, and they
Yep.
have whatever. Who's the guy from the Sex Pistols? I'm spacing out.
Johnny Rotten.
Yeah,
Johnny
they have
Lydon.
his leather
Sid
jacket
Vicious, yeah.
in the case, you know, and Prince, you know,
Right.
and the Purple Rain get up. Elton
Right.
John. Oh my God, Elton
Look at
John.
that. Look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Elton John,
and some of the
he-
stuff, like, boy, you know, image was half the game. I mean, you know, any of these musicians, great musicians. Think about Elton John, like what an amazing songwriter and pianist and singer and like, you know, but
Am I wrong or
his image
sorry?
was like half of what he was given to the audience.
Yeah.
I'd say
Am
it's
I wrong in
more.
assuming Elton?
Go ahead, Chip.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, am I wrong in assuming that Elton John was inspired by Liberace? I always thought he was.
I don't know.
I don't know, but it makes
Liberace
sense.
with the piano and the candle
Yeah.
opera on the
Yeah.
top of the piano.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That totally makes sense to me. Yeah.
Fred says, imagine Prince wearing tennis shoes with his outfit. No way that would happen.
See,
Fair.
it's all about the feet, Fred.
Yeah.
I would say image is probably more important now than ever before. And maybe that's
Oh.
why this episode is so important. I've been watching a lot of YouTubes on hip hop and rap because I'm always coming from the perspective of what I know, my rock world, you know, and reggae world. So I'm trying to like find out a little bit more about the music industry and the culture of it all. And I'm watching more YouTube videos and yeah, image is just so huge. Talking about DJs, they're saying more. It's more like the brand, yeah, that comes first. It's who you are. It's your look. It's your vibe. It's your cool. It's whatever. It's your appealing. Oh, and by the way, I'm a DJ or I'm a singer. That the music is just like this after the fact thing from this big social media presence. And so the branding is super vital in this day and age.
Now more
like,
than ever. I agree.
Yeah, more and more than ever.
Well,
Women have more views, like as for DJs. Women get substantially more views than men on their social media, and so there are
Especially
way
if they're
more
wearing
women DJs now.
scantily clad women. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, more women are getting the DJ gigs than the men now. And it's totally tied in to the social media views. So
That's
I
interesting.
thought that was really
you know, as soon as you make it to a certain level, you're going to have a handler and a manager and a brand person who's in charge of your stuff, right? And all of a sudden you've got to wear, you know, the costume or whatever.
Right.
You know,
Well, you know what? I think you can probably, if you have a good imagination and a blank piece of paper and a pen, you could probably dream up your own brand, you know, and think about what would fit my brand and what would my brand look like, you know, just kind of I came up with my neon green and signature logo and all that stuff, just kind of daydreaming. If I did have a big manager, would he want me to, like, you know, have a logo or a signature? And I think this would be cool or that'd be cool. So you don't have to have a PR person to develop a brand.
that's true. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think publicists are a big vital part of a band's success.
Yeah.
It is.
And maybe sadly in this era, publicists might be more important than a music instructor.
Yeah, I have.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
speculating.
No, yeah.
I think it's all got to be there, really.
I have a good friend that recorded and produced a local band CD. The local band got signed, was out there doing shows, picking up gigs that they could get, taking whatever they could get and playing out as much as possible. And then they got signed to a management company that took over all their social media and their web presence. And now all of a sudden they're playing festivals in New Jersey and touring around the world. So I mean, there's a big part of success has to do with the team that goes behind goes along with what Rick's point is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
all right. Well, that was a pretty good discussion. I learned a lot, and I appreciated all your input from our listeners and our community. Thanks, you guys. We will be back next week. Bart will be back. I'll be gone. And thanks for tuning in, as always. Love you guys.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Got your bubbles ready, Chip?
We're on it. Subscribe to the channel.
A Drummer's Magical Education Emporium.